I'm Matt.
I'm Shane, and you are about to listen to an excerpt from a Comic Movie Marks podcast.
So if you like what you hear, make sure you hit that like button real hard, and make sure you subscribe to Comic Movie Marks. And always remember,
if trailer trash can do it,
anyone can do it. Now we're going to get into our top 6 worst origin movies, comic book movies, ever.
Yes, and this is a disclaimer, a quick disclaimer. We've
already done this.
Yes, we have. This is our top 6 worst origin movies. There are some that, unfortunately, I have not seen, and so this is kind of my list. I have not seen Catwoman, so I know that that's out there for a lot of people, but this is our list. This is, to us, what is the worst and why.
So this is going into Black Panther's origin movie, so we're going to be talking about origin movies. We got the worst this week and the best next week. So here we go. We're going to start off with some honorable mentions for me. Like Shane said, Catwoman, Elektra, both female-led movies that no one gave a shit about at the time, and they were awful. Catwoman licks a boot or some shit like that. Then we have Steel with Shaquille O'Neal. Yeah, he was trying to replicate the Steel from the comic books from fucking Death of Superman.
Right, yeah, he's a big Superman fan, and I have not seen Steel, but from what I gather, this is as close as he could get to playing Superman because he was such a huge Superman fan. He has like a Superman bed, Superman Bentley.
Tons of tattoos.
If you ever watch MTV Cribs, if you're old enough for that, he has like...
Really? Are we that old and that's all of a sudden a classic?
I think so.
MTV Cribs is like, on classic television.
Yeah.
Like that fucking
MTV classic TV. Yeah, so but this was as close as he could get to becoming Superman, but then they just totally took it off in a completely different direction, and it's actually nowhere near, like, it's not even in the same universe from what I gather. No. I'm gonna have to watch it.
I saw it a long time ago when I was really young, and when I was young I thought it was stupid, so
that says something.
Yeah, that says something, because I'm stupid, I guess. It's the way Shane's reaction there was.
Well, we're all stupid as kids.
Last honorable mention, Daredevil, starring Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah. So I have seen that one, but for some reason that did not make it onto my list. That'll be my honorable mention. There we go.
There you go. All right, number 6. Go for it.
All right, so my number 6 is Green Lantern.
Fuck you.
I was kind of borderline. If I do enjoy a lot of aspects about Green Lantern. There are a lot of redeemable qualities. No,
there isn't.
For me, I enjoy Ryan Reynolds.
You're wrong.
No, okay. As Deadpool. So yeah, that makes my number 6 only because they're as many good parts as there are also a lot of shitty parts, and it could have been a lot better. It was supposed to catapult the universe, didn't do shit, didn't even have a sequel to it, so it's unfortunate.
My number 6 is Hulk 2003. So we got Hulk coming out, being directed by Ang Lee. The reason why this is number 6, and it was actually an honorable mention the last time we recorded this, but I kind of rethought about it, and so I made it number 6. But I actually thought that it did an actually cool thing. It really actually did try to bring comic panels to life, and I thought that was kind of a unique experience. I mean, borderline, you had all that comic panels. It's just terrible story, terrible acting, terrible dialogue. For some reason, Hulk dogs have balls that Hulk punches. Hulk dog balls. Try saying that 5 times fast. Yes. Hulk dog balls.
Hulk dog balls.
Hulk punches Hulk dog balls.
Brother.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
Yeah. And Hulk becomes like this humongous, massive thing at some point. It just keeps growing.
And his Zorby man, Nick Nolte. What?
Yeah.
No.
It's fucking weird.
Okay. No. Go ahead.
All right. So my number 5 is Wolverine Origins. Actually, the first time that I saw this movie was last year in preparation for Logan. We were supposed to have Nick on, and we were gonna do Wolverine Origins and what's the second one?
Wolverine. The Wolverine.
Yeah, the Wolverine. So that was the first time that I watched both of these because most people said stay away from them. They're shit. I didn't mind them. I don't know if the bar was set so low that when I went into it, I'm like, you know what? I kind of get what they were doing with that. I kind of understood what they were trying to do. Yeah, Deadpool isn't actually Deadpool, but I liked that he was supposed to be, the ultimate
mutant,
the ultimate mutant,
ultimate mutant.
Hey, we didn't have that last time we recorded this, so
yeah, I'm adding a little bit here.
Yeah, it works. So I enjoyed it for the most part. For 2009, it's okay. Some of the CGI is a little horrible, and
a little.
it has some
get your eyes checked.
Has some like good moments, and then others that you're like, what the fuck? The green screen is terrible in some.
Awful.
Yeah. So anyways, my number 5.
All right, Fantastic Four 2005 is my number 5. I would have put the 2014 one up there, but I really didn't think that one was as bad as this one. Like, I know everybody shits on it. It's got like a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes or some shit like that. But I like actually kind of the beginning of it. It had some cool horror elements to it. I like how they got their powers. I like this alternate universe type style instead of them just floating off in space and getting it and stuff like that. I actually kind of like this a little bit more. I like how when Reed Richards wakes up, his arms are fully extended, his legs are extended, and they got like these little jacks holding him up, and he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. All of a sudden now he's just 20 feet tall and shit, and starts screaming, and it goes to black. I mean, it's like a horror movie. It's like a horror movie. At one point, the guy that plays Dr. Doom just starts blowing people's heads up in a PG-13 movie. I mean, it's kind of okay looking, but it really doesn't make sense why he wouldn't do that against the Fantastic Four, and the final battle's terrible, and the story just kind of becomes muddled and bullshit. But there is some cool elements to that movie anyway that I actually gave a shit about. Mm-hmm. Yes, I know a bunch of stuff from the trailers were missing and everything else, and the guy
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, well, we're used to it by now. And the director that did the movie was thoroughly pissed and got fired off of Star Wars and everything and all the bullshit that came down from that whole situation. But the 2005 one sucks ass. I can't stand it. It's too cheesy for me.
It is.
There's nothing about it that I can enjoy. The comedy, the humor in it's terrible. I guess maybe Jessica Alba's tits are pretty nice. So
yeah, she's pretty hot.
They squeeze those shits together real tight in that suit. So I guess that's the only positive I got.
Yeah, I think the only reason why it stays in people's mind is because
Mama. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, at some point. I don't know if it was... Yeah,
I don't know. We'll just use it for this one.
Yeah. Ba-ching!
Been real nice.
Well, that's because you have big jugs. I mean, your boobs are huge. I mean, I want to squeeze them. Mama!
The elevator, yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, with Fantastic Four, I feel like the only reason it stays in people's minds is because Chris Evans played the Human Torch. And now he's Captain America, obviously. Other than that, it's not a memorable movie. I actually enjoyed Silver Surfer, the second one, better than the first one. Yeah, and there's more memorable parts to the second Fantastic Four than the first one. So yeah, I agree. That was your number
5, yes.
Okay. All right, so my number 4 is Doctor Strange from 2016.
Strangelove.
If you've listened to a single episode of Comic Movie Marks in the past, you will know that Doctor Strange is not high up there. The only positive that came out of that, some pretty decent CGI. Other than
the battles, the fights.
Yeah, exactly.
The walls collapsing, the buildings shifting.
Yeah. Other than that, the story is not good. There's so many plot holes. It's brutal for 2016, and for being fucking Marvel, come up with something better. The bar has now been lowered as far as like any expectations with anything that's remotely similar to that. If we think we're gonna be surprised, no.
That truly was the final straw for us. Was Doctor Strange.
Yeah, so there's real other than, like Matt said, the one chick ended up in the fish tank. There's really nothing entertaining. I said that
last episode.
Yep.
So don't get ahead of me yet.
Oh, sorry.
My number 4 is Wolverine X-Men Origins or whatever it is. X-Men Wolverine Origins. There we go.
Yes.
That's what it is. Again, it's just a fucked up movie, fucked up plot. Originally, when I saw it, I went and saw it in theaters with a group of friends. Somehow Shane wasn't there. We found that out last episode.
Yes.
I remember we went to the midnight showing. I was in there till 2-something in the morning, however long that movie is. Had to go to work at 5 o'clock the next morning. Complete zombie. I remember how that all went down. All my coworkers were laughing at me because I was just stumbling around, could barely even open my eyes.
That seems like such a high safety hazard because Matt does work with power tools, so I can just imagine. And then Matt told the story about
some guy sleeping on the bandsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was cutting a 4x4.
That seems sketchy.
And just kind of fell asleep, and I'm like, huh.
Let's see how this goes. Probably not well.
I just watched him just in case. Didn't want to wake him up. So, but this movie is just weird. We got another iteration of the general guy, Stryker.
Why would you want to know that? Stryker. Stryker, 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 Stryker. Stryker.
And he's in this movie, and that's what it reminded me of, was that part from the Airplane, the movie Airplane. Anyway, I'll plug that in. And then the claws look terrible. The CGI was... The claw looked terrible.
Oh, it does. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They don't get it right until Logan.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much.
It takes...
Like, yeah.
the X-Men movies are not that bad. The original ones.
True, yeah.
The original ones are it's not that bad.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
Oh yeah, they look fucking like that shit that like Wile E. Coyote or Bugs Bunny would pull out of their ass or something like that.
I was thinking
Or Roger Rabbit.
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Probably.
Like in the Roger Rabbit movie, when like
exactly.
real people are holding really animated, weird looking things.
Exactly. That's what it looked like.
Fuck you! Don't give me that weird look.
I thought it kind of looked like the toy, that you'd put over your hand and then it comes out your fingers and you're like, yeah, I'm Wolverine. That's it. Actually,
I used to use pencils,
that might have looked better.
and then I fucked up a lampshade. My dad was royally pissed.
And that's why they sent you on that camping trip.
Die, motherfucker, die! It just looks terrible. The ending of the movie with young Patrick Stewart as Professor X, like they younged up his face again, and it just looks fucking weird again. Face CGI just doesn't work, and the green screen as those people are walking away, it's just fucking god awful. It's just terrible.
At several points,
and the movie just makes no sense. At first, I did like it when I first saw it because it had characters that I actually really wanted to see. It had Gambit, it was Wolverine, it had Sabretooth, a decent Sabretooth, not the dumb one we got from the first X-Men, and I really liked it. Victor, the guy whoever plays Victor in that one, I thought was cool, and at first I liked it. I mean, even had the cool action movie scenes that I love as an 80s, 90s child. When he's walking away and he lights the fucking fuel up and it just slowly goes towards the helicopter, blows the guy off. He doesn't turn around because that's what a true motherfucker does. He doesn't look at the explosion.
Exactly.
He walks away from it.
Exactly.
And but it ultimately just does suck ass.
Yeah. Even though you're talking all the good stuff. All right, so my
I
number...
talked about the shitty stuff, too.
My number 3 is Ghost Rider from 2007.
My guilty pleasure.
Ultimately, it's kind of a pretty normal run
walking down the
street, pretty woman. Yeah.
It's a ghost that lied to me. No? Okay.
Yeah, okay, that works. It's your normal run-of-the-mill origin movie, nothing too crazy. Even some of the acting is a little out there.
Nick Cage is crazy. That's why I love it.
Oh my god, Matt actually brought up a good point with Ghost Rider
last time because Audacity fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. It feels like Nick Cage is just kind of dicking off and doing his
playing the craziest Nick Cage possible.
Yeah, pretty much his own thing. And then when Matt brought that up last time we recorded, I was like, shit, you might be right. Maybe that is why it's so weird, is because he's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do whatever I want.
Go completely fucking psychotic on this shit.
But the story's kind of weird. CGI is okay. I was actually a little more impressed with it, especially for 2007. Like his head doesn't look too bad. There's other, some of the ghosts and stuff like that are a little weird, some of the demons, but yeah, ultimately my number 3.
My number 3 is Dr. Strangelove. So we got Dr. Strange here, and like Shane was talking about, the fight scenes, like the CGI with the fight scenes, phenomenal, really good. I hated the ancient one. I hated her. She was just stupid. Her fucking pronoun game bullshit that she was playing with him the whole time. The story itself was just fucking lame. It was tons of plot holes.
Yeah.
I think I described it as House fucked Harry Potter, and this is what we got.
Yeah.
We got a dickhead doctor that could do magic. Woo. And he just seems like a stupid character. That final battle against Dormammu. It's so creative. He didn't just fight him and beat up the bad guy. He made a deal. Let's play a deal. Oh, wow, look at that. Dormammu. It's a fucking fart cloud. Who gives a shit? How in 2016 you can get away with a fart cloud as your fucking villain? I don't understand. There's already previous movies that tried that shit and people shit all over it. But then Marvel does it in 2016. We got a fucking fart cloud. Oh, yeah.
People love it. Yeah.
Oh, his face. He's supposed to resemble Benedict Cumberbatch. That's his face. No, it's not, motherfucker. It's a fucking fart cloud. My flashlight went off on my phone as I shook my phone in anger.
In my eyes.
It's a fucking fart cloud. Like, how could you... Fuck that shit, man. God damn. If I've ever seen some bias against a goddamn movie, it's Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That is easily one of the worst Marvel movies, and no one fucking admits it.
Ugh. But we reviewed it, so go check that out. Cheap plug.
Expensive plug.
Yeah, exactly. So my number 2 is Fantastic Four from 2005. I kind of have a theme with my top 3 here that you'll figure out. Again, Fantastic Four, not really memorable at all. Pretty mundane. As I said before, I like the second one better. There's nothing to it, and it's a little cringeworthy to watch. The humor and stuff doesn't live up. When I brought this up last time we recorded, but when we
because Audacity fucked up.
Yep, exactly. So here I am again. When we were reviewing Spider-Man 2002 with Nick, he brought up a great point of how at that time and for that time frame, some of the stuff was pretty corny with Spider-Man, with the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, but it works. And, you know, the New Yorkers kind of coming together, it works. So it had so many moments that kind of can stand the test of time. A lot of things that people just remember about that movie, the upside down kiss, you know, even a lot of the action scenes, they're used, you know, over and over again. And, you know, so a lot of the dialogue.
This is for Fantastic Four, right?
Yeah, well, Spider-Man. So, with where I'm going with this is Fantastic Four has none of those. Came out shortly after, and nothing is memorable. There's no pleasure in watching that movie. It's just
Jessica Alba getting naked, but she's invisible. But her clothes are coming off.
Yeah.
So it gives you this idea.
Somewhat, yeah.
You can see this invisible butt line.
Nah.
Not really, but
No, yeah.
man could dream.
True.
Just take off a bra, all right? That just gives you the idea. Like, ooh.
I think the Photoshop images that pop up when you go to Google Images, Jessica Alba nude or whatever, the Photoshop ones are probably better. So
well,
let's go with that.
Man can dream.
Yeah,
man can dream.
Exactly.
My number 2 is The Amazing Spider-Man.
Fuck you.
Go back, listen to our review of this. It's actually pretty fucking entertaining.
It is.
This rapist of a Spider-Man is out there fucking hunting this woman down.
He doesn't have a rape
Fantasy.
Yes. Fuck. Yeah. Thank you. Hey, I can't even argue this point. I give up. He's just a stalker. That's it.
Put the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose again. That's what he's going to do. If she didn't die by the goblin in the second one, he was going to kill her and wear her skin. I guarantee that. That's how that was going down. She was never going to make it to Oxford. So this motherfucker is just straight up stalker. I just think Andrew Garfield is a terrible Spider-Man.
Oh, man.
He looked cool in the suit. I give him that. And Sony actually did a decent job with the look of that Spider-Man. I did like that one. Mm-hmm. But everything else, the dialogue, the story, is just fucking terrible. The guy just rages boner through a lot of shit just so he could fuck Gwen Stacy and rape her, whatever he's going to do. Stalker, all that other shit.
He doesn't need to rape her.
He takes pictures against her will, all right? He's taking pictures and she doesn't realize it.
She has the rape fantasy. She enjoyed it.
Yeah, she
got with him. So she's like, choke me, Peter. Choke me.
No, he put the mask on her. That's what he did. Anyway, it's a terrible movie, terrible dialogue. The only thing that's even remotely positive is Martin Sheen as Uncle Ben. I liked his version of Uncle Ben a lot. Other than that, the movie is stupid. The crane scene, holy shit. Talk about one of the dumbest scenes in comic book history.
Oh, man.
New York's banding together. The guys are banding together, but in the dumbest way. It's not a fucking good way like the first one. It's stupid. Cranes. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, but then he can swing from them. No.
And then the cop pulls up and puts his hand out. Stop.
Yeah.
In the end, so in name of love. So he could swing on by. Oh, fantastic. Look at that.
Exactly.
And he says Mother Hubbard. Automatically 1 out of 5.
Yeah, Matt did rate it 1 out of 5. And it one of his Matt's famous lines made it into our intro. Run, bitch, run. He's going to wear your skin, woman. Run, bitch, run.
All right. Let's get your number 1.
Oh, a drum roll this time. All right. My number 1 is Hulk from 2003. I had to look on my phone.
Fuck you.
This movie. So a lot of times in preparation for these things, I like to rewatch movies. I like to go, all right, is it really as good or as bad as what I remember? And I remember this movie being pretty bad. I watched it, I think with a girlfriend back in 2003. And I was like, this.
And then she deflated.
Exactly. Once I was done. Folded her up. I'm a very organized person, very clean. So, with oh shit, what did I do? Oh, there it is. All right. So, with Hulk, I remember it just kind of being corny. I probably wasn't all there. I think the blood rushed to somewhere else, with my girlfriend. But Hulk was just.
Did you have her on a string? Pull her back?
Yeah. Get over here.
That's why you put the helium in there.
So Hulk it wasn't memorable. So I decided to watch it again. I wanted to see If it got better, maybe I was too hard on it. You know, maybe the blood was out elsewhere. Yep, exactly. So I watched it again, and holy fuck, this movie is. I didn't even make it through it. Actually, I'm gonna be honest.
So then, how do you know it's bad?
The second time, like I struggled. I was like,
you may have missed the best part.
No, it couldn't have gotten any better. As Matt kind of brought up the comic book look, you know, the different panels and stuff like that. I get what they were doing. It really annoyed the shit out of me. And I don't know if it was because this movie came out in 2003, but felt like it should have been in 1970. Like it just was not.
It wasn't that bad.
It's like grainy. The coloration is horrible.
They got Hulk dog nuts. Like someone rendered ball sack on a dog.
Some of the CGI was okay, but big ones too. Not just small ones.
I mean, they were
big.
They had fucking swinging motions and everything.
So, it just overall, I didn't like the coloration. The acting was horrible. Jennifer Connelly she's fucking gorgeous. She's been in some great movies, and she can't even be a redeeming quality. Okay, she hasn't been in some great movies, but she's hot. No matter what, and she can't even be a redeeming quality. She got on my fucking nerves in this movie. It's one of those. It was hard to find any positives. The CGI I guess was okay, and then one of the worst things that I forgot to bring up last time, so I'm actually kind of glad that we're re-recording this.
Thanks to Audacity.
Yes, exactly. So thank you. You fuck. Danny Elfman actually scored this movie. Automatically tanks it.
Wow.
See? Yes. So there you go.
I think that score's pretty sweet, actually.
What?
I can't even remember.
You could probably take it.
I remember the noises
and plug
between the transition of the panels, like the music that would play when they would transition the paneling and stuff like that, when they would go to the next part and everything. I remember the music was kind of catchy.
It could be totally.
I haven't watched it in a while.
I do like Danny Elfman as a composer.
Oh, I don't. He's a bag of shit.
He's
biggest con man in fucking Hollywood.
Oh, pretty much. This dude probably makes a shit ton of money. You can take him composing Spider-Man from the year prior, this movie, Justice League, intertwine them, and I guarantee you wouldn't be able to guess which movie it was from. They are all so generic. It just drives me crazy. The only one that he's had some success with was Batman, and I don't know if he did the animated series or not.
I believe so.
But so the animated series almost sounds just like Batman. So he didn't even venture too far off on that.
Change the note.
So yeah, pretty much. So it's like, ooh, all right, yeah, this is the animated series. This isn't Tim Burton's Batman. So I don't know. I'm just not a. I enjoy him. I can appreciate what he's done, but holy fuck. So Hulk, my number one, piece of shit movie. Couldn't find a redeeming quality.
All right, my number one is Green Lantern. Now, Green Lantern's going to have a little bit of a story with this. So you get a little bit of a personal story from me here on Green Lantern. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. I really, really have loved Green Lantern for a long time, for as long as I can really remember.
Last time we recorded this, I asked the question when Matt said this is my number one. I was like, holy fuck. Do you think that Doctor Strange is better? And he said yes, and here's why. And I'm like, holy fuck. We hate that movie. So go ahead. So the reason why Green Lantern is a very personal one for me in this idea that when Shane and I graduated from high school, we both had our cars, and Shane had a red Chrysler convertible LeBaron. I had a green Ford Ranger, early 90s Ford Ranger. We went to a body shop, and Shane got a giant Superman logo on the hood of his car, and I got a giant Green Lantern symbol on the hood of my truck. I have a picture of it. I actually found one. The only picture in existence of this damn thing. You have to remember, folks, this was back when we barely. I think it
was 1 megapixel on your phone.
Yeah, pretty much
for cameras,
and you didn't use it. We had one. We took on our senior trip. We took 3 disposable cameras.
Yeah,
and we took fucking dumbass pictures with them.
I have those. Yeah, I still have those.
Yeah, I have those too. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So I actually have this picture, and if on our YouTube version here, I will plug it in so you can see what the truck looks like. It's not the perfect picture of it because it's not a direct picture of the logo, but you can see it on the hood. You can see the Green Lantern logo on the hood. I was a big Green Lantern fan, and Shane's a big Superman fan. This is before any fucking movies. This isn't bandwagoning at all. This is what we actually cared about. Fuck, man, I really, really liked Green Lantern. We already told this story once, but we'll tell it again for our new subscribers and new listeners and stuff like this. But when the Green Lantern movie was coming out in 2011, I was fucking stoked for it. Back in the day of midnight showings and everything, and I told Shane, I was like, dude, we need to go down to our local theater. We need to get in line. Because I want to get great seats for this. Because a lot of the other times when we went and saw Wolverine, The Dark Knight, Superman Returns, whatever else came out, we'd always get stuck in the shit back area. And this is before assigned seating. Now we got a theater with assigned seating.
Right.
But this is before they had assigned seating. And
yeah,
you'd
always walk up to the usher and they're like, okay, well, the line's right around the corner. You walk around the corner. You're like 3 hours early. You know, 4 sometimes you're like, fuck, you know, and there's been people who are waiting for 5 hours. It was crazy, you know, when
it was cray.
Yeah, cray.
Before cray.
Yeah, one other story I don't want to forget because it cracks me up every time, just to kind of put into perspective the big Green Lantern fan that Matt was. His girlfriend, for I want to say it was 17th or 18th birthday, got it was a Green Lantern themed kind of birthday party, and the cake was awesome. It was had a action figure of Jon Stewart on it. It was a Green Lantern cake, and then his girlfriend, being the awesome person that she had all of her Disney characters like around Green Lantern, like he's this badass, and they're all like, you know, down on their knees, like waiting for the dick or something.
Jon Stewart dick, man.
Yeah, exactly. But it was awesome. But this is like his 17th or 18th birthday, and she's like, all right, we're gonna do it Green Lantern out. So, and again, this was before the movie came out, not bandwagon or anything. This is just type of nerds that we were.
So we rushed down to our local cinema here, and we had haul ass. I mean, we pre-ordered the tickets, but we haul ass towards it. And I walk up to one of the ushers, and I'm like, "Hey, man, where's the line for Green Lantern?" And he kind of looks at me. He's like, "Well, I guess you are the line for Green Lantern. You can just stand right over here on the wall, and we'll have that cleaned up for you." And we were there like at 8:30, 9ish. Yeah. It was about 3.5 hours before the movie started.
Just waiting.
So we dragged a bench over to the edge of the fucking door and sat down there. And about 11 o'clock, they finally got the theater cleaned up, or they decided to open it up to us anyway. We're still the only people in line.
Yep.
We're all alone.
There really was no line. No. I have 2 pictures that we may or may not post onto YouTube, but they're hilarious. One of them is of Matt standing at the front of the line, like
all by myself.
Yep, all by himself. Like this is right outside the theater door, and he's like, yeah, you know, all stoked. And then the other picture is
about 11:30, 11:45, literally 30 to 15 minutes before the movie started.
Yep.
And it's me alone in an entire theater.
Yep.
No one else is there.
And the theater's still dark. You can't even see Matt in the picture. I mean, it was terrible camera phone quality at the time, but yeah, it's completely dark, and my comment was like, well, boy, it's really filling up fast in here. Some shit. Yeah. I don't remember what the caption was.
And I think mainly the theater got about a quarter full by the end of the night, and then we watched this horrendous movie. I went into this movie with such high expectations because I was reading as much as I could back then on the internet. You know, we didn't have all these websites reporting things every fucking minute back then. It was very, you know, loose, and the superhero movies weren't that big, so people weren't really caring that much about them. I remember originally there was supposed to be a Jon Stewart version of Green Lantern. It was like Denzel Washington was being tapped, Will Smith was being tapped for it. You know, ultimately that never came to fruition. Then they eventually started working on a Hal Jordan one, and it was like Ryan Gosling was like a pick, and then like Bradley Cooper was another choice that they had for it, and that was the theme going into it. And then they did some rewrites, and then eventually Ryan Reynolds was put into it, and they started doing rewrites for this movie. And I remember at the time seeing it was because of the success of The Dark Knight. They were going to try to make this more adult oriented and a little bit darker fucking Green Lantern because they wanted to make it more realistic. Well, whatever happened with those rewrites, I don't know what. I actually found an article by the writer that he's finishing up the movie Flash at the time, and he's going to be working on Green Lantern 2. And this was an article written in September 9th of 2010. And I remember this, actually. There was Flash and Green Lantern, and they were trying to push right then and there. And then eventually they were actually going to have them do a team-up. Right. I remember hearing that at the time. They were going to do a team-up with Green Lantern and Flash, which is very popular in the comics to have. And ultimately, none of that happened.
Yeah, and that actually, before Man of Steel, that was supposed to catapult the universe.
Yeah.
That it was going to be Green Lantern out of all characters to be starting it, and then where they were going to go with this, I have no idea. But that was supposed to be the starting point, and then they bring in Flash, and then I think that's how they kind of spin into Justice League eventually, and you'll start getting individual movies. But that was the plan at that time.
The Green Lantern movie in general is just an abomination of Green Lantern lore. Like it's just a terrible fucking movie in general. I don't know what they were planning to do. They released the animated movie Green Lantern First Flight in 2009. I mean, that's basically a fucking template of what you need to do for a Green Lantern movie. Why they didn't follow that one, I don't know. It doesn't make. I don't care if they followed it beat for beat and they made a live action version of it. I would have loved
been
it.
Awesome, yeah.
I would have fucking loved it because it made more sense. But for some reason, they had to add in Hollywood tropes. They had to have a love story. They had to have that dumb, funny friend, comic relief motherfucker. They had to have the enemy had to be a guy that was like, that same shit from like Iron Man 3, where it's a guy that was wronged by the good guy kind of in the whole thing. It was just stupid. It was just fucking stupid. And why you would have Parallax as your first villain in a Green Lantern movie is just stupid. He's the embodiment of fear. He should be so much farther down the line. It's not just way down the line.
And not a fart cloud.
And not a fucking fart cloud. I understand Parallax is kind of hard to embody. He doesn't really quite have a physical form. He usually possesses people and takes over them and shit like that. But you start a Green Lantern story with Sinestro. That's what you do. And that's what you do. You have him start the Sinestro Corps, and then you make a movie out of that. And then when you have the Sinestro Corps and the Green Lantern Corps, then you establish all the other corps. If you want to bring Carol in there and start having her as Star Sapphire, and you have the Pink Lanterns, and then you can have Black Hand and the Black Lanterns, and you can start opening up the whole universe from there. But you always started off Green Lantern versus Sinestro Corps. That's what you fucking do.
Yeah, that's just another example of the normal Hollywood tropes of let's have just kind of a lesser known villain. And because most people should know who, if you're somewhat of a comic book reader, you're going to know who Sinestro is. And it's the typical, let's have him be the second movie, and they have the after credits scene or whatever. Or was it after credits or right before the credits?
No, it's after credits. Okay. Well, I'm not quite sure. I think it's after credits.
Yeah. So, but anyways, it was the build up of like, well, we have to introduce him and then, and he'll be in the next one that we never even fucking get to.
And that whole thing didn't even make any sense. He just watched Hal Jordan defeat Parallax, the embodiment of fear, the absolute pinnacle of fear, supposedly, with Will. He beat him. So why would he go to fear now?
Right.
It seems kind of stupid now.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense. Even that fucking thing didn't make sense. And the one thing I always had the problem with, even fucking when I first saw this movie, the one big problem I always had with it is that when he's falling in the plane, after he fucks up the drones and everything, and he goes past a certain limit and they stall out, and he's flashbacking to his dad, and he doesn't pull it off and he has to eject because he's overcome with fear. Why would the Ring, literally after he does his little family bullshit, the Ring picks him after that? Why would the Ring pick him after he just failed to fear? He just was overcome with fear in his last moments. Why would the Ring pick him? It doesn't make any... Oh, because they see great potential in you.
Right.
He just bitched out. No, he should have been able to recorrect, fly that bitch out of there, and then the Ring would take him because he's showing he's a fucking badass and he deserves that power. It makes no fucking sense. It blows me away that Jeff Johns was a fucking producer on this.
Yeah.
Because how a guy that pretty much reinvigorated the Green Lantern series would let this movie go through. To me, this movie was totally done, written, directed, and everything was done by fucking people that had no idea how Green Lantern works.
Yeah. Or the direction really that they wanted to go.
There's tons of articles out there about fucking studio meddling on this movie and how they interfered with a bunch of things, edited it, chopped it up, and everything else.
No, Warner Brothers would never do that.
And it's the first Justice League, man. And
yep.
I'm sure there's a lot of movies before that.
Probably.
But it's just amazing what they did to this movie. And I feel bad for Jeff Johns because I remember he was putting a stamp on this motherfucker at first. And this is the guy that's he really rebooted. He really reinvigorated the Green Lantern series, and then like his name is on this movie.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's sad. So this is my number one worst origin movie ever, and it's a personal one for me. And it's worse. It's worse than fucking Doctor Strange. It's worse than The Amazing Spider-Man. It's a terrible origin movie. And I actually watched it again, and I could not believe I actually made it through. Actually, no, I didn't make it through.
It could have gotten better.
No, I did make it a little bit farther. But the only positive thing that I could even say about this movie is Mark Strong, the guy that played Sinestro.
Yeah.
I thought the makeup they used and everything, I thought he looked good. He had the tone. He had the demeanor that I would expect a Sinestro to have. So I thought he did a good job. But the animated suit, I mean, that's already been made fun of enough. from Deadpool himself. You know, fucking, you can't get much worse than that shit. The look of the movie is just awful. Just everything about it is just tropey, generic, and it's just awful. And why they introduced all that shit in there, beyond me. So, not my number one.
All right.
So that completes our worst comic book movie origin stories ever. According to us, the ones we've seen.
Yep, exactly.
Next week will be our best origin movies, the ones we've seen.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Our list.
There's a little bit of a catch-22 on this one. I don't know. I'll talk to Shane about something later. I'm not quite sure if certain movies are going to fit in this or not, because I realized something later today. Anyway, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But please be sure on YouTube at Comic Movie Marks to leave us your worst origin movie list. And we'd love to hear from you guys and, you know, rank them 1 through whatever. I think we did 1 through 6 with a couple of honorable mentions. But we want to know, what is your worst comic book movies?
So make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube page. When we did this last time, we were at 150, but now we are at 153.
What?
Subscribers.
Woo!
Our intro, I think, says 150 because I'm going to leave that intro alone.
Yep.
And we'll have
it works.
We'll have it like this, but we're up to 153 subscribers. Woo!
Yay!
Views are going up. Everything else is going up except for our revenue.
It's going down. Yeah. After Effects. Ouch. Blueberry.
Make sure you check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. There's a lot of cool stuff on Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Matt's been putting in some effort. I was like, damn, all right.
I downloaded like 15 apps to make like one fucking post.
One little video. we could tell because every time like I was doing the same thing that, you know, they put their little stamp on it and you're like, oh, well, there's that one and you're covering it with your logo. Yeah. So it is what it is. It works. But we are at Comic Movie Marks, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They all link to the same place. Check us out.
Check us out on iTunes or check us out in the Google Play Store at Podcast Republic because they play all Comic Movie Mark podcasts.
Yes, and be sure to leave us that all-important iTunes review. It's free. It's easy. It really helps us out. iTunes is a big clusterfuck right now. We don't know why our podcast numbers are dropping, but to get back up there, we need to be ranked. We need to be seen. And how do we do that? We get reviews. We get stars. We get 5 stars. Help us out. I think we're at 11.
13.
13. We have 13?
Yes.
Reviews?
13 reviews, yes.
The unlucky number 13. No wonder why we hit
yeah,
hit
that's
a wall.
why we're stuck there.
Yeah.
So in case I don't see you.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
The Claw! Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. You're one of very few to make it to the end.
Yes, thank you very much.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to Comic Movie Marks Podcast and hit the notification bell. You know, all these fucking YouTube channels say this shit, so I'm going to say it now.
Yes, it's perfect. And if you want to hear our full podcast, you can check out our podcast on iTunes or any other podcast subscription service.
Make sure you subscribe. Thanks again.